This story is about a guy with a really unique situation, maybe because the main character's human life was so tough the moment he died. He was immediately transported to another world, a place with fresh air unlike the hospital. Suddenly, a girl appeared calling Takuto a king. He just stared wide-eyed because this was none other than Atu, the female character he loved in the legendary game SAO. The game he played while bedridden was a nation management simulator, and Atu was his favorite character who accompanied the young man. During this time, the protagonist thought he had been put inside the game so he didn't know how to act. The pretty girl then smiled, advising her master not to stress out. All of Takuto's info was already revealed. He had beaten the hardest level in the game, something no AI had managed yet. On top of that, he used the hard-to-control destructive civilization called Managra. He was always #1 on the leaderboard and considered a legendary player. She remembered everything about him from the words he said to their times, conquering the world together, so he had nothing to worry about. "I'll stay loyal, and give my all for you." Hearing that, Takuto realized maybe because he always picked Atu in the game, a close bond had formed between them. He even wanted to talk to her in the real world. Turns out after death heaven let them meet like this. The young man didn't know where he was and asked if this was heaven. Atu said no, it felt more like the game's atmosphere here. Like him, the girl had woken up here, and this could be considered a miracle. They had been brought to a new world to start over, and no matter what, she was happy to meet her master and wanted to begin again just like before. Because they still didn't know if this was the game world they always played or a completely new place, they just had to start over like back then. Atu said, "Takuto can totally build his own kingdom here." Excited from playing games, the young man pushed aside doubts and agreed. He wanted to try again and relive the glorious days when he ruled everything as king. The girl introduced herself like the first time. "My name is Atu, born from the mud of the world's destruction. From now on, this body and soul belong to you, my king." After that, both felt embarrassed because doing this in the game was fine, but in real life it felt kinda awkward. To lighten the mood, the young man declared, "Oh, my loyal servant and my second brain, even if we're the most evil nation in this situation, you should know what to do." First, they needed to hide from all dangers around. Information was extremely important. Using his skills, Takuto created a long-legged bug for scouting. It looked kinda weird, but it was necessary to avoid being detected by people, which was the golden rule in the game's early phase. Using the bug, he could gather 10 pieces of info without fear of AI detection. Given his first order, the bug happily ran off to scout the situation. Atu was a bit worried, but luckily everything worked fine. At first he only had 200 mana, creating that creature cost 100, so he had to use it wisely. When it came to fighting, Atu said she'd try her best, but being weak made it tough. Heroes like her needed time to get stronger, meaning if attacked now the risk was huge. Facing a super strong enemy would definitely mean total destruction. For now, he roughly understood the surrounding area was mostly trees with no animals or magical beasts around. Atu thought this place was pretty good for hiding, but sadly they hadn't found anything edible yet. She apologized for being useless. The chill dude said, "As long as you're with me, that's enough," which made her happily say. His words were truly touching. Just then, the young man discovered a small settlement of dark elves not too far from here. The setting was probably exactly like in the game. Dark elves were a neutral race but leaned a bit evil. If they clashed, it wouldn't be a big deal. Takuto wanted to avoid war as much as possible, so early on, he just wanted to hide and wait for the right moment. If this place bordered another nation that was colonizing, that'd be a huge headache. Difficulty was at the highest level. Atu thought, if anything bad happened, they'd just run away. Takuto totally agreed. Just as spirits were rising, a few people appeared, making the situation tense. Turns out they were dark elves out looking for food. The healthy ones were split off to scout. Those who were driven away had nowhere left to go. "The kids couldn't endure hunger any longer," said the tribe's chief warrior. He believed this forest was rich with plants. Maybe by chance they'd find something to fill their stomachs. However, according to records, this place is considered a cursed forest. On top of that, an evil entity exists here. Legend says this entity won't allow life to survive. If you run into it, well, your life's basically over. Nasib smiled, trying to boost everyone's morale. "Absolutely do not give up. The spirits of our ancestors will bless us to overcome this crisis." As soon as he finished speaking, everyone saw the male lead appearing as a shadowy figure, so they naturally assumed he was that evil entity. Atu stayed calm and used a threatening gaze to intimidate Nak. Frightened Nak thought this was an extremely dangerous being. Depending on his actions, the entire tribe could be wiped out, so the best move was to kneel and show goodwill, signaling a desire to surrender. He introduced himself as a dark elf. From the Mazaram tribe, he also acknowledged himself as a noble entity and apologized for confidently entering this forest. Hearing this, Atu praised the whole group. Understanding the seriousness of entering here, he asked why the dark elf tribe acted that way. Nak told them that the Mazaram tribe once settled in the central land of Etragia. Hearing this long story, the girl got angry and demanded a short summary. Basically, they were abused and driven out of that land with nowhere left to hide. Realizing they had trespassed in this forest, Takuto noticed how skinny they looked. The pressure from his words was intense, forcing them to reveal that their people had suffered severe abuse during their journey with supplies running out. They hadn't eaten for many days. Hearing this, he was furious, wondering why the heavens allowed his tribe to be mistreated so badly. Feeling sympathy for their harsh situation, Takuto conjured a pile of apples to help them overcome hunger. Introducing the fruit, he said it was delicious and those people had never seen anything like it before. Then, sensing the sweet fragrance, Nak wondered if eating here might be disrespectful. Turning back, he saw others praising the taste. Encouraged, he conjured pears next. This amazed the guy. Atu noticed he didn't show gratitude and even scolded him. "It's a gift from the king. Don't just stand there, eat it already." Hearing this, he bowed deeply to ask for forgiveness. "There are many others hungry, including children. Please Takuto, give these fruits to them. I don't need to eat." Feeling sorry, he continued giving them plenty of food. This made Atu a bit worried because it would drain a lot of mana. Dark elves are seen as creatures fleeing from light and are despised. They survive only by the mercy of the elf tribe, usually enduring constant scorn, living in places sunlight can't reach. They'd never received help like this from AI before, so they were very grateful. Later, the chief warrior also returned with a huge amount of food. Thanks to that, the whole tribe felt revived. When asked where he found it, Nak didn't dare say out of respect for the male lead. At night, the elder also came to inquire about this matter. The fruit he brought back was truly amazing. Even someone as old as the elder had never seen anything like it. Nak confirmed it was top quality and said he'd encountered an entity from legend believed to be sealed within the Great Barrier. The elder called him the King of Destruction. Tales of evil are still recorded in ancient documents. When the world reaches a saturation point, the King of Destruction will appear. That entity will destroy everything to start anew. Nak thought that title was truly terrifying, but he wasn't sure if he really was the King of Destruction. The elder thought it was a malevolent existence. After eating, the elder felt his mana recovering and asked what he had sacrificed to get the food. He answered nothing. Maybe it was compassion that made him help them. Hearing this, the elder was angry, because if he called the other party, "Sir," it would mean he'd submitted. That's a term reserved for someone you truly respect. Nak said, "I'm not enchanted. He really helped us in our time of need. Respecting someone like that isn't wrong, even if they are an evil entity." Nak asked again, "What must I do to be considered righteous?" They were arguing like this. "It's thanks to him that we got food." The elder said nothing more and apologized to the tribe's bravest warrior. "Leave the rest like negotiations to me." After all, this old guy had lived over 200 years. Meanwhile, Atu was blaming his master for wasting precious mana on unnecessary things. Seeing her angry, the young man had to apologize and even shed tears, leaving the girl speechless. The next morning, the elder and Nak began discussing going to consult the King of Destruction. Since the whole tribe accepted help from that day, they now must pay the price. An evil existence naturally demands compensation. To survive, they will do everything the Destroyer King orders, even if it means leaving this forest. At least that way they still have a chance to live. By wandering and scavenging for meals, they dream of a place free from abuse. These 6 dark territories are such a place, but there's nothing to eat. The future of the entire tribe is in the Destroyer King's hands. The conversation was also secretly tracked by a bug. After it returned, it reported the situation. Knowing the Dark Elves are coming, Takuto was a bit worried. Last time they didn't take all the food because there was too much. So this time, they might come to take something different. The clash of ideology and culture could ignite conflict. The protagonist hopes it stops at just taking food. He's mostly bedridden and bad at communication, fearing that babbling might lead to unpredictable consequences. Hearing this, Atu stood up, volunteering to handle negotiations for the master. Perfect timing to show the authority of a king. Takuto asked if that was okay, and she said to just whisper in her ear if there's anything to convey. She trusts her completely and was given the task to speak for him. Shortly after, the other two arrived and greeted, formally introducing themselves as Manta, the elder of the Dark Elf group. Seeing him follow protocol, Atu praised him and asked if he had anything to say. "Say it quickly, old man." He mentioned being given food the day before and wanted to know their names. Hearing this, Atu looked back for permission and was granted it. So she declared boldly, "Right here, right now, I am the Destroyer King in the end time. Takuto-san, by the way, I'm Atu, the king's close aide." The old man bowed, thanking them for saving the whole tribe. Hearing this, the protagonist breathed a sigh of relief because everything seemed fine. The elf girl urged to quickly take the remaining food and leave as some items can't last long and should be used immediately. The two were shocked, expecting to owe something in return, but the white elf said no need because they came hungry and had nothing to repay the king with. Hearing this, the elder broke into a sweat, fearing Takuto might notice something shady. Atu noticed it too. She had to consult the master to come up with further demands. She complained the two were terrible negotiators, talking too much and exhausting her. She even threatened to kill them all, which was intense. The young man asked her to calm down, saying from their faces it seemed like they wanted a mutually beneficial relationship, like if we give then we expect something back, so no one thinks badly and everyone feels more secure. Hearing this, the elf girl declared the king accepted the tribute as a way to exchange for this favor. Naku relaxed hearing that, realizing they're the evil ones, so the old man feared them. Atu explained this via telepathy. She immediately scolded the two below, calling them idiots for daring to think the Destroyer King is noble like some evil spirit demanding tribute. Atu still wasn't sure what to demand. Since they looked ragged, what valuable things could they have? Asking the master, he said he wanted information about the outside world. Hearing that Manta told everything he knew and saw outside the forest, Atu also proposed. After everything was said, they must leave and never return. Though they expected to be kicked out, Naku was still shocked as they begged to stay in the forest, but it wasn't allowed. The elf girl even forbade revealing information about the Destroyer King. The others wanted to plead, but were stopped by the elder, saying if this is the king's will, they have to obey. After sharing all information, they asked permission to leave. Seeing this, Takuto felt pity for their situation. Sending them elsewhere might just starve them again. Suddenly, the young man had an idea. He called out, "Become my subjects," which shocked everyone. Atu had to discuss what the master was thinking. She smiled, saying he intended to use the refugee acceptance system. Dark elves aren't exactly good or evil. If they sided with them, they'd become evil. She worried these were very different from Minagra's main humanoid race, fearing future internal conflicts. That'd be exhausting. The young man admitted the risk but said living with these people is still more bearable than humanoids who look like monsters. Then the couple announced the final decision. The king plans to establish a nation, and if they become subjects, they will receive protection. Besides that, they're promised happiness and eternal peace. But from now on, they will exist as evil beings free to choose their own way of life. If asked, she would immediately agree because this is an intriguing existence. The next day, the couple went to the Dark Elf camp to hold a ceremony. Although yesterday I had to think it over for a long time before making a decision, everything seems settled now, Elder. And everyone in the tribe was present to welcome the new king, who appeared as the dark shadow of the protagonist and even knocked a few people out cold. Then he declared that from now on the Dark Elves here would be recognized as citizens of Minora. Meeting all the conditions, Takuto pressed, okay, officially founding Minora. Their happiness would be guaranteed, so from now on they could rest easy. They saw nothing had changed even though they had sided with evil. Suddenly, their chests ached sharply as they recalled the past, what they had endured being abandoned and humiliated. The hatred surged until Takuto spoke, and the pain finally ended, realizing this was the joy of being protected and recognized. Suddenly, the whole Dark Elf tribe shouted, "Long live the Destroyer King!" happily. Seems like the protagonist successfully won them over. A few days passed. The protagonist asked our elder to draw a map and realized the current situation was seriously bad. Their location couldn't be worse. This land has two big countries, the Holy Nation, Qualia, worshipping a benevolent god, and the Elf Nation, who revere nature. They are down below an evil country. If discovered, it's game over for Minora's current existence, just a country at the bottom of society, completely powerless. The couple just lay on the ground frustrated because the situation was terrible, almost no resources or food. How the hell could they develop? Even though they were used to hardship, progress was still really tough with a dumb species. Luckily, they recently won over the Dark Elves, so that helped. Today, they came to report and wanted to seize this chance to push development forward. Today, besides the two leaders, there was a young assistant scholar named Emily who was well versed in information and legends. In other countries, she said the White Elf no longer needed to be so rigid, just freely say what they want about their future direction. First, assign reasonable positions for smooth operation. Our elder mainly manages the nation and magic usage, which looks promising, but Naki still leads the army and other personnel. He excitedly declared he'd destroy any enemy. The protagonist, however, loves peace. Saying he hates war made his big brother stunned. The Destroyer King loves peace. That's really weird. First, they were ordered to rest, eat well to regain strength, and prepare to work. The first task is building houses and such. The elder acted like he knew more than warrior Naki, believing his knowledge would help immediately. The other brother refused to lose, saying he was strong and didn't need rest. They realized the Dark Elf tribe was all about hard work. Atu thought maybe they should gather 10 materials right away. Takuto agreed and sent the group to reclaim land without destroying the forest, assigning logging to the old man. They still had to plant trees and reforest. None of the three had any knowledge of this. It seemed their development level was pretty poor in both magic and daily life. On the other hand, if properly taught, this country might surpass others in magic development. About reforesting, it means cutting and planting simultaneously using elemental magic to boost growth. Atu was talking big. This was the Great King's brilliant idea, impressing the others, though the girl was clearly lying. Kudo just rolled his eyes. About food and those apples from last time, the two girls loved them because they were delicious. Imlai said she had planted some seeds that had already sprouted. Hearing that, everyone felt enlightened. But he was forgetting one basic fact: this was reality, not a game, and everything created came from the old world. Thanks to emergency production skills, they could create anything they wanted, even gunpowder and metal. Of course, it required huge mana, but this was basically hacking. It was beyond imagination. Atu understood the problem. Praising his friend Kia for the great suggestion, the scene shifts to a cold region of the holy nation Qualia, where the saintess and soldiers were hunting flying monsters. Goblins charged forward but were sentenced to death by the saintess's power. Her blonde hair easily incinerated them all in one move. Everyone was amazed by the scene. Only the cardinal who followed looked down on her, calling the saintess a doomsday weapon. After eliminating evil, light began to shine on the burned land and grass and flowers started growing. That's why she's called the Saintess of the Tang Flower. Selena, one of the 7 great priestesses of this land, finished cleaning up. The girl mentioned the recent incident, but the cardinal completely forgot about it given his abilities. She realized that the great uncle below showed signs of disaster and wanted to send someone to investigate, but this request was opposed by the old man, because it's beyond his reach. Intervening in the southernmost land is unnecessary. After hearing this, Selena wanted to personally check it out, driving the old man crazy. He said the priestess is no longer the naive girl she once was. Still, he promised to dispatch people who could look into it. It was time to turn back, muttering curses about that blonde country girl, but she didn't care. Her focus was on salvation. As many people as possible returned to the forest where Tuesday had asked for help. Everyone began building homes and other things. But even though Takuto was crowned king, he was happy. He loved the throne, and the Dark Elf tribe prepared it for him. That girl said this was only the beginning. Later, they would build a powerful nation to dominate the entire land. Meanwhile, BA's subordinates from Squad 5 who run the nation arrived. Before the meeting started, Emily gave the Destroyer King a new outfit made for young men. The king liked it and praised her. A Tuesday was also excited about the new outfit. Letting the king wear pajamas all the time wasn't acceptable. She said the owner was very pleased, putting BA at ease. In their eyes, he was still just a shadow, completely invisible. Back to politics, Atu was asking Takuto's opinion. Seeing men getting overly excited, they had to discuss plans with those people. The elders still didn't know which project to build. First was the Raw City. Nikit's team was just chopping trees and flattening the land. That elf girl, White, wanted to build food production facilities first. You can't work or fight on an empty stomach. Some thought the king could just create food at will. Atu didn't deny that, but in the long run it wouldn't work. After expanding territory, many problems arise, so it's best to be self-sufficient. Then she created a tree. She introduced it as a carnivorous tree. Hearing this, BA and the others didn't understand what she wanted to do. Atu explained, this is what will help produce food for their civilization. This tree produces mysterious fruit that tastes like human flesh. Its yield is very high, so rest assured there's enough food for everyone. Besides flesh, it's highly nutritious. Hearing this, Takuto thought it was evil. The elders said they had bad memories with human flesh, but they had no other choice because this civilization leans toward evil. They all agreed to build the carnivorous trees and food storage facilities. Emily took charge of this task. Hearing the tree making noises was scary. Next was the research plan for a small kingdom like theirs. They should prioritize acquiring advanced technology. Atu said they aimed for magic technology. Hearing this, men also got excited. The elder, knowing some about Raw City, was also excited about new technology. Asking what kind of magic they'd study, it turned out to be offensive magic. They could only kill a few dozen people normally, but with magic, their army could attack thousands at once. Plus, it could alter terrain strategically. Development and research would be handled by him and a few skilled magic users. Takuto said this tech wasn't too hard, so they could definitely develop it. The elder had lived long, but hearing about the magical world the Destroyer King knew, it was just a drop in the ocean. The old man was fired up, eager to start researching immediately. Lastly, the military plan. Lan, showing his weakness, wanted to form a separate squad, but was opposed. Men thought their kingdom didn't need to invest in the military right now. Atu explained that instead of wasting resources and mana on maintaining troops, focusing on other developments was better. Lan feared they wouldn't withstand a crisis. Besides, he and the elder were wanted criminals for leading the Dark Elf tribe. Knowing their worries about external threats, Takuto decided to create heroes. Atu thought it was a good idea, although producing heroes was costly, but it brought corresponding power. Those people had no knowledge of heroes. The White Elf, explained in the manga, heroes are the king's subordinates. Each has unique strength and abilities and could be seen as insane monsters. Summoning requires many conditions, but if just one is summoned, they definitely manage in the near future. Building an army costs maintenance and draws attention, but the hero is completely different, powerful, and unique. So no AI could ever guess that the hero is actually Minogu's strongest fighting force. The male lead said he'd create a hero soon, so just relax and focus on building and researching. His mana has already increased a lot thanks to many sources from the people. Although only absorbing a small amount over time, the number will rise. Besides, the mana gained is proportional to the level of happiness. The happier everyone is, the faster the country develops. Scene shifts to the Holy Kingdom, which just received a request from Selena. The Holy Knights have started moving, including Ronius, a gentle guy who likes to pray, completely opposite from his superior Vodo. This guy is super arrogant, always making subordinates do whatever he wants. From Ronius's view, that dude lacks qualities, and there are rumors about his bad behaviors. Still, his strength and achievements are undeniable. Vodo looks annoyed having to go to 6 dark territories for reconnaissance. The blonde guy encourages him, saying if he succeeds, the Western Council will reward him, but if he fails, he'll definitely get all the blame. Currently only they are the Holy Knights, the rest are hired mercenaries. Neither understands the intentions of their superiors or the Saintus. In short, they have orders and must comply. No matter what happens, they have to follow through. Scene shifts to a few days later in the Dark Elf Forest tribe, now free from daily worries about food. They've shown their building skills and quickly created an entire village. Though Takuto has seen this scene many times in games, seeing it firsthand is super exciting. The whole residential area is built up in the trees. Following Atu's orders, they're helping the man-eating tree develop as fast as possible. Food storage is almost finished, and the Magical Research Institute is well managed by the Elder. Also, Emily said she found a water source nearby, but it still needs checking before bringing it to the village for use. Everything is progressing well, making everyone satisfied. Takuto praised the girl for doing well without orders. More importantly, the Dark Elf tribe, who was skinny before, is now full of life, which makes Takuto way happier. He said recruiting them as citizens was definitely the right call. Hearing this, Emily cried her heart out when all 3 were recognized. Then they went to the man-eating fruit trees all ready for harvest. Earlier, they had asked the king to create various tools to make the job easier. Takuto said for things like tools he'd handle it for now, because if they made them, it would waste time, not guarantee quality. Atu felt this was kinda cheating, but whatever, fun is what matters. From then on, Takuto felt like he was hacking the game to dominate everything, which was an awesome experience. Next was inspecting the water source, but the forest seemed to have changed. Compared to before the spring, the Dark Elf tribe struggled to find has turned pitch black. Most likely, it's unusable. Omanta and Nakib just happened to be there. While everyone thought the water was polluted, Atu said it was fine. She even drank some and praised its taste. She explained, "This area is called the Cursed Land, which proves it has become part of the Managra territory." Takuto asked everyone to take a deep breath. Immediately, AI felt much better. The Cursed Land benefits evil attributes, but harms neutral and friendly ones. Since the Dark Elves have become Minagrana citizens, they are considered evil. So from now on, this place will be super livable. For them, the black water is safe to drink. Plus, the Cursed Land serves as a perfect front line to protect their territory. Now, the only problem is this place stands out too much and could attract attention. Later, when the plants turn black, it will definitely be noticed. Talking about building the army further, Atu advised not to worry because the king will create a hero soon. Seeing is believing, so she wanted to show them. The elf girl casually cut down some trees with her power, revealing she herself was a hero. Their trait is to grow stronger over time, without doing anything. Though her current strength isn't even 1% of her peak, it's enough to wipe out an entire army quickly. To Takuto, heroes are badass and low-key like Atu. AI would definitely think she's super strong. Since they currently have no plans to invade elsewhere, having her alone is enough. Everyone else said they'd focus on building. They also plan to build a palace for the king. At first Takuto wanted to refuse because of resource costs, but since it's everyone's wish and happiness will rise, he agreed. That's why he agreed, and the young guy even said his plan is to take everyone up to the sky to live. A pretty twisted idea, sounds crazy, but since the king said so, they fully trust him. Cut to the mercenary squad moving closer to the dead forest where Takuto Island. It's known that up north there's chaos with many Manji tribes causing trouble attacking cities and villages. The Saintus was sent out, but the rebellions haven't calmed down yet. The mercenaries, though, paid well, still refuse to head north. They fear being massacred by witches, so no one dares to go. Vodo doesn't care about the north. Their target is the big boss down south. Not knowing what's ahead, he reminds the troops to stay alert. That night Ronius asks around about witches. They've only heard rumors, no sightings. Seeing the big brother drinking too much, the others ask why. He says, just satisfy yourself first, then do whatever. Wouldn't that be better? Ronius strictly follows the rules and reminds them but can't change much. The mercenaries also mention the witch situation in the big boss's territory and say they want to back out if witches are involved. They don't want to die meaninglessly. Vodo reassures them saying only dark elves are there and the upper-ups think they're just causing trouble, so they sent scouts. But to them dark elves are masters of curses and assassination. Ronius fears such enemies accumulating power. The captain says not to worry. If anything happens, just run. The young guy thinks so too. A holy knight like me is the face of the gods. If there's evil, it must be destroyed no matter how dangerous, he says, then advises not to be too stubborn. Even holy knights must retreat sometimes. Besides, he has family back home. Everyone here feels the same, no one wants to die. Back to the forest. Min is showing everyone how to create monsters. The young guy uses a bunch of food and magic and a long-legged bug is born. Atu tells everyone this is Takuto's power and there's more. The dedication and blessings from everyone grant the king great strength, so from now on, they must try to live well. After everyone leaves, the white elf congratulates them, surprised that just gathering resources and channeling mana can create a normal unit. There are still things they don't fully understand, but it's okay. After this ritual, it's confirmed they can create units. Next up is summoning heroes, though more mana storage is needed for now, but finally, there's a clear path. Right now having 2 heroes would be safer than one. That's who Takuto wants to summon. That's the queen of all insects, Isla. Hearing this, the girl looks happy because Isla is badass, a proud insect-type hero for Minagra. With her power, she can strengthen other insect units. Then the long-legged bugs can fight. Also, Isla provides small insect units as workers. This hero excels in both fields. Exactly what's needed now. Atu praises the master. In the early phase, their strategy will center on Isla to reproduce and increase numbers fast, speeding up development. The other heroes have somewhat quirky personalities, which is partly why Isla is summoned first. The next day, the mercenary group encounters a giant monster, definitely top-tier dark magic. Even in daylight, they meet this beast. As they prepare to fight together, Vang Du orders them to retreat so he can handle it quickly and safely. Using his power, he channels divine energy into his sword through prayers to the gods. The Holy Knight's stats boost and his weapon gains anti-evil properties. For some like Vang Du, this makes him as strong as a low-level dragon. So this monster isn't a match, and is quickly defeated. Ronius thinks the mission will be easy with this power, but he's unsure about Min, who's busy eating cake. Atu asks if Min can create something more advanced to eat. Min is already bored with hospital food. In this world, you gotta enjoy yourself, Atu says, though he's evil-aligned, but only eats veggies totally next level. Atu asked why Min doesn't create something more advanced to eat him. He's already sick of the hospital food. Coming to this world means enjoying it, right, Atu? Despite having an evil attribute, but only eating vegetables is truly next level. Right now, building the castle is a huge issue, so he asked to call our guild later to discuss it. Based on the long-legged bugs released all over the forest, Takuto understood this place better. The nearest to them is Qualia City, a neutral country, but still needs caution, because they'll be the first to spot our faction's existence. Confident that our location is still hidden, Takuto suddenly noticed a squad heading this way. Now, he wants to avoid attention, so he asked Atu to peacefully chase them away if possible, otherwise they'll have to be eliminated outside the forest. Cursed at this moment, the mercenary squad hesitates to enter, inspecting the surroundings before advancing and then ordering everyone to stop because there's someone in front. He also asks the girl what she's doing at the shrine below. Atu greets them, revealing she's a dark elf fleeing to this forest. After realizing they are the Holy Knights of Qualia, he asks what business brought them here. Of course she can't answer, and instead they want to know what she's doing here. She pretends to just be living with others in the same situation. Hearing this, the opposing party asks permission to enter and check, but is refused with a threatening glare from Ronius. They claim to act in the name of the gods, but get scolded for daring to meddle with the youth, leaving them frustrated and powerless. The captain continues to negotiate, saying they can't return empty-handed. Atu explains, her people just endured a long journey, and have only just found peace, so they don't want to be disturbed. Still, she wonders why the Holy Knights insist on barging in at any cost. He bluntly states that they received a prophecy about a disaster descending on this forest and can't leave without confirming it. Ronius reminds him this is a state secret, but Vodo thinks this idiot really doesn't get it. Secrets or not, you have to speak up in front of the strong. That guy thinks this is treason and will report back after returning, but Dick couldn't care less and says let him do whatever he wants. Atu insists there's no disaster here at all. This surprises everyone because it's a divine prophecy, yet she refuses it. She warns one last time and orders everyone to leave. Sensing evil energy, Ronius realizes the prophecy is true. Something really needs confirming here. Vodo takes a more peaceful approach and asks again about the disaster, but Atu insists the ones who should be afraid are their faction. She even swears to the gods in front of everyone. Hearing this, the captain decides to retreat since there's no need to worry further. However, Ronius objects because she sensed evil energy from the others. Both sides argue, calling the blonde guy untrustworthy, but the investigation finds nothing, just that. Suddenly, the young man loses it and refuses to turn back, simultaneously stripping command from the captain. Because of this, Vodo did something unacceptable, and will now command the mercenary squad himself. The others reluctantly obey since Ronius is the employer. That guy also ignores advice and threatens Atu, so she has no choice but to take action. When that idiot wakes up, he sees blood everywhere. All the mercenaries are dead. Vodo calls for the elf. The white one is a witch, forcing the young girl, Atu, who was peacefully minding her own business, to act. Life sure isn't going as planned. Sitting on the throne, the Destroyer King watches Atu's battle. Though he dislikes war, anyone threatening his territory must die to keep secrets safe. Calmly, he orders the mercenary squad to quickly send someone back to report the bad news. One of those capable has already been stabbed to death. Meanwhile, the elf claims she is the monster they seek, so why not just rush in and fight? But Ronius just watches her soldiers die by her orders. The captain reassures them that at this point they have no choice but to fight. Even though neither side wants this, blood has been spilled and secrets revealed, so there's no turning back. Atu is hit by a rain of arrows but remains unharmed, as her tentacles move to break every arrow. Fueled by the enemy's will, she feels a rare surge of emotion after a long time without a real fight. Vodo sees the situation as bad. Though it was smooth earlier, the blonde girl agrees, saying she really didn't want this either, yet that stupid guy used his nonsense faith to do unnecessary things. The fault is all his, and I don't like killing either. Ronius asks about the witch, and the captain says their superiors strictly forbid revealing secrets about the Holy Maiden's prophecy concerning the witch. It's the disaster hidden in this forest. The uprising in the north is also caused by witches, so they suspect Atu is an ally. Hearing this, that's the disaster hiding in this forest. The Northern Rebellion is caused by witches, so they guessed Atu is an ally. After hearing this info, the girl was pretty happy and asked if they finished gossiping, so no one else dies. Vodo ordered the mercenary squad to retreat while she and Runius, the Holy Knight, would handle both themselves, boosting their power to fight evil. The elf still felt too slow and weak, but after enhancement, the sword could now cut through tentacles. These two want to clear out all the wriggling obstacles first. That girl was still carefree as if nothing happened, admitting that holy attributes are very effective against evil, which is why she hates the civilized side's units. Before finishing their sentence, they charged again, cutting off 2 more tentacles. Not wanting to lose, Atu stabbed through the mercenary's neck. Using the body as a shield to block, I have to admit I underestimated the Holy Knights. They're stronger than I thought. But would I dare to slash in front of 2 teammates? Not exactly, since they're on the good side. That's why I really like humans here. Their strong sense of comradeship is perfect for exploitation. Ronius was pissed but got advised to step in. Only 2 tentacles left, and they could reach the evil in the prophecy. Understanding the situation, that dumb guy also followed orders. Atu seemed shocked when they slashed even the hostage, thinking it was over, so Vodo launched the finishing blow, but at the critical moment, Atu gave a sinister smile, hiding his evil side. The very next second, the unlucky team captain fell. Before dying, he told Ronius to run quickly. There was no way to win. Seeing the captain's head pierced, the blonde was stunned, wondering why the tentacles kept growing back. Atu laughed, saying, "I never said I only have 6 tentacles. These keep growing endlessly." Knowing she was messing with them from the start, Ronius ordered the survivors to split up and run. Even if only one survived, they had to report back to the country about this. Seeing this, Atu got annoyed, having more work to do. Why not just die quietly together to make it quick? Kia charged in to slash, but unexpectedly the elf used the same skill to block the evil attribute. Using a sword against that was unbelievable. When asked why, she showed a few basic moves, and said she had stolen it, not only the skill, but all of Vodo's combat experience and memories. Then she switched to attack with the sword, knowing the opponent was weak. She said the Holy Knight, Vodo, truly deserved his title, but unfortunately he had to die because of his own foolishness and ignorance. Atu recited the names of Ronius's wife and child, shocking him. The hero's power was badass. Just killing opponents meant stealing all their strength. The more you kill, the stronger you become. Atu teased his opponent, revealing Verdant's deepest secrets. Outwardly, Verdant seemed calm, but inside, he was extremely worried about his teammates. Atu admired the high-ranking Holy Knight, Kia, who still cared for others until the very end. Ronius was asked how she felt hearing these words. The blonde said, his efforts won't be wasted. As long as the country gets the report, their sacrifice will mean something. Just as she finished, the 7 sharp cries of the mercenaries echoed. The Dark Elves had completed their mission, wiping out all enemies. Atu said, "I never said I don't have teammates. Annoyed, the guy charged again, but the outcome is obvious. The battle ended, but Atu didn't kill immediately. He wanted to torment that dumb Kia for disobedience. If Odo hadn't interfered, he probably wouldn't have needed to go so far. Even so, Kia could have returned to his beloved family. Sadly, stupidity always comes with a price. Want to know if the future he chose is satisfying? He tortured everyone until they begged to die. When asked why he did this, I'll tell you it was because of his foolish actions that led to this. First, Ronius begged him not to do it. Atu was always taught by his master never to let others despise him. If they do, he must kill, whether it's 10, 100, or 10,000. The blonde cried and begged. Then the elf smiled brightly, saying he was truly a good person, believing in the gods and always dedicating himself to the kingdom. Too bad she hated those who thought of themselves as righteous. After saying farewell to Ronius, Atu let the enemy go painfully, wishing the guy would go to heaven and watch his family and loved ones get slaughtered. After finishing, Naki went to report that all enemies had been eliminated as ordered. Atu praised, thinking their king would be very pleased. He was assigned to clean up the corpses and curiously asked if she wanted to carry out what was just said. Immediately, she objected, saying she's a lover of peace and how could she harm innocent people. Earlier, she was just teasing that dumb guy a bit. Everyone was speechless, killing like crazy but claiming to be pacifists. Also, there's a super important issue she needs to report to the Destroyer King. Takuto got info about the witch and looked surprised. In the game he plays, there's no unit like that at all. That means this world might not be exactly like the game. Takuto kind of guessed that too. Even though their system works like the game, they still need to learn more about this world. Still, Atu benefited quite a bit. Turns out in the game, she could only steal power from the ones she kills, and only with a certain chance. But earlier, she even stole memories and emotions. That's a deadly weapon for gathering intel. Thanks to that, they now know what's going on in Qualia. That country is busy dealing with the Northern Witch incident. For now, they can't touch this forest anymore. The elf fears if the whole army gets wiped out, the enemy will strike back harder. Takuto isn't worried since there's zero info about him. Even if they want to act, they'll definitely be cautious. What worries him is the witch. From the memories Atu stole, she's insanely dangerous. But that's all they have. Qualia still doesn't fully know the truth about the witch causing army-level damage in the north. The name spreading fear is the witch Thut Elkina. She just finished destroying another village and is pretty happy. She's even planning to head to the next city to wreak havoc. The corpses she killed are raised and ordered back to Mainan's place. He really wants to dig up more info about the witch. He wonders if that person might also be from another world like him, using hero-level power to cause chaos. This is starting to get more troublesome. Atu asks Takuto what he thinks. Should she approach and check it out since the enemy is clearly evil? But Takuto doesn't want that. Evil nature is hard to understand. Atu looks tired. Just when things were calm, a bunch of problems pop up. At least they have time to prepare if something happens. After learning the enemy is hero level, they need to speed up making new heroes. Initially they planned to make Isla, but now they have to reconsider. Prioritizing heroes with combat skills is better. That girl looks happy because she's still number 1 right now. She promises to help Takuto. They should think about allying with another nation. Right now, the witch and Qualia are clear threats to them. Cooperation with another country would be better, even if a bit tricky. The current choice is a neutral country. They're also facing attacks from enemies. After slaughtering countless people, the elf looks thoughtful. Takuto innocently asks how to reveal the image of evil. He doesn't care if she kills AI or whatever, as long as it benefits their side. Plus he trusts her, so no worries. Hearing that she's pumped and wants more orders, another peaceful stretch passes. The Dark Elf tribe is thriving right now. Houses and food stores are fully stocked. Only 2 girls in the tribe still can't get used to this life. Today, Takuto's palace was completed. Still a lot to do, but this is already great. Men plans to expand the palace later to make it more grand. Atu gets super excited, saying the king's palace will pierce the sky. All the ministers must be truly elite. Suddenly, the elf realizes a serious problem. No one is serving their lord yet. This is a big oversight, so she wants to make it right. Asked what kind of servant Takuto wanted so I could find one. He's a bit timid due to his weaknesses and personality. He can't communicate with the Dark Elves at all. This is partly because the Destroyer King's authority is overwhelming. The retainers didn't dare to speak up first. Atu eagerly said she'd handle this matter herself. She immediately summoned 3 trusted aides. She ordered Monday Ta to summon all the girls in the tribe by the king's command. Her plan was to use the girls as servants to help men communicate easier. However, this request was met with skepticism, so Atu said, "Our king really likes girls," making Takuto blush. The 3 men were shocked to the core while the elf acted innocent and clueless. The protagonist had to let her explain again so they'd understand. The others thought the king might do something bad, so they were a bit scared. Choosing girls as servants wouldn't slow down development. It's actually 2 birds with 1 stone, because right now, their workforce is still quite lacking. Serving duties aren't hard at all. Even kids can do it. Nat Y curiously asked why it had to be girls. Takuto explained he needed to train them to become future leaders. Women have more opportunities than men, so this is the first step. Hearing that everyone enthusiastically supported the idea, didn't expect the king to think so deep. Though a bit forced, the Dark Elf tribe reluctantly accepted it for now. With that said, Atu urged everyone to bring the girls to the protagonist, determined to use this chance to fix his communication issues. Sadly, everyone was scared stiff just looking at him. Atu angrily asked if there was anyone obedient and stronger. The old man said that was everyone but Nak. It knew there was a pair of twins who hadn't been asked yet. If it's them, they could probably handle this. Monday, Ta knows right, but those two have some psychological issues. Bringing them to serve the king might not be suitable. Atu said, as long as they're smart, that's what matters. Other issues don't matter. She asked to see them and Nak said they were waiting outside. The village chief was surprised how fast things were moving today. The warrior joked, it's not like some old guy, always planning ahead a few steps. That stings. Monday, Ta could only do so much. Had to leave the advantage to the competition. The twins then came in. The younger sister Carrie had long scars all over her body. The older sister Maria seemed less aware of things, more like she had severe psychological issues and barely cared about anything. Even Atu found the kids very strange. Takuto liked them enough to ask about their background. Carrie said the sores on her body were from an illness. Monday, Ta felt sorry for her. Then she said she fit well with him. Monday, Ta explained there was an epidemic before, though treated it left scars like these. As for Maria, she had gone through such sadness, she couldn't speak normally. Turns out both had to eat their mother's flesh, something no one wanted. The village chief said their mother was a proud woman. The Dark Elf tribe would never forget her sacrifice. Hearing this, Takuto understood part of the story. They were driven out of their homeland and were on a journey to find a new land. Of course they faced many hardships, including a long famine. To keep the kids alive, their mother sacrificed herself as food. After going through such horrors, the two lost their will to live. Maria then suddenly stepped in front of the king, said some random things yet surprisingly could communicate comfortably with him, asked if she could be his servant. It would be very tough with a lot to learn. But Maria agreed without hesitation. Takuto then appointed her as the future leader candidate of the Great Minigram. As for Carrie, she was a bit scared. However, since she had a duty to stay by her sister's side, she agreed to remain here. Atu was quite pleased and finalized the plan to have the two stay here to serve and learn. Later, after everyone else had left Monday, Ta came to report about the two poor kids. He said that since losing their mother, Maria and Carrie hadn't shed a single tear. Perhaps their hearts had been locked shut since that moment, though he hoped the Destroyer King would watch over them with a generous heart. The next day, work began. Just as they started, Maria splashed a cup of water in his face, but he didn't blame her at all, and even laughed. Harry then had to dry the king off. It seemed this wasn't the first time, which annoyed Atu quite a bit. Since it was nearly meeting time, she asked the two to join but not to make any noise. First, Monday wanted to hear the current situation report. The person in charge of construction was La. She said that after finishing the castle, the workforce was still working hard. Wood and other materials were ready. They could start building new structures immediately if ordered. Hearing this, Takuto was very pleased and assigned Atu a new mission. That was to build a magical clinic to ensure the health of his people. Living happily and healthily would bring many benefits. Asked about the person responsible for resources, it was still Lee. Atu felt they were short on manpower. As for food and materials, things were going quite smoothly thanks to the king's special abilities. Difficult to produce necessities were sufficiently supplied. However, this consumed mana, so she didn't dare ask for more. Atu thought they should prioritize mana production facilities and research first. Next was the research topic under Monday Ta's charge. Currently he had mastered military magic. Although only he could use it now, he planned to train and coach subordinates soon. However, this magic focused on combat and didn't help development for now. It would only be truly useful in the long run. Atu asked him to continue researching the 6 great elements as originally planned. Finally, there was Nat Y, the military officer. He said the newly formed patrol force consisted of 5 long-legged bugs. Their main job was to survey unexplored areas outside the Great Continent. However, the areas the bugs explored were all plains. But Feta emphasized secrecy, so the pace of new land exploration was quite slow. All images and information were sent back to Maine the Elf Lady. From now on, they were ordered to send these bugs to survey surrounding countries. Nat Y worried about defense, but Atu confidently said he was here. They had already witnessed enough, so no need to worry. Also, the decision to produce new heroes had been finalized. After reconsideration, Feta still lacked many personnel, so Takuto decided to summon the insect Queen Isla first to make use of the force this hero generated. This would boost development. Hearing this, the others were surprised because they expected a combat-type hero to be summoned. They already had enough resources prepared. What was still lacking was Maine's current total mana, which wasn't enough to handle internal issues. Everyone looked exhausted. When entering the throne room, Maria suddenly bumped straight into the two sisters. Then she even tore some important papers. Takuto didn't mind. The twins then asked if he was a bad guy. They learned it fit his evil nature. Maria was surprised, not understanding why he caused so much trouble without punishment or death. The young man said since the two served him, why would he kill them? Hearing that, the older sister looked annoyed, saying the Destroyer King was too gentle. He was speechless and explained that good people only do what's right, but bad people can do whatever they believe is right even if it's good. Basically, evil nature isn't exactly evil, but freedom. People like them only believe in what they think is right and ignore the rest. And once they act, they never regret it, so treating the two well was normal. Besides, he clearly knows that all the work mistakes from yesterday until now were intentional. The kids want to die because they feel worthless, but they're scared of death, so they end up messing up. If Takuto punishes them, Maria and Carrie probably couldn't forgive themselves for living off their mother's death. The young man comforted them, saying they're here because their mother gave them life. At that moment, she also said to keep living. Takuto felt proud seeing the two of them having such a mother. When asked what to do, he advised to live for themselves to repay their mother's love and prove they're her pride. Encouraged and comforted, their emotions finally surfaced. Maria and Carrie were able to shed tears after a long period of endurance. Later, Atu walked in and saw the two daring to sleep on the king's throne. He came to report on the situation in the country they want to ally with called Dragontan. Apparently there's a dragon vein inside that city. It's extremely important for creating magical resources. Right now, many forces want to invade this place. Helping them is crucial. Maybe they'll gain new residents and secure the dragon vein. So he wants to send an envoy there immediately to negotiate. Receiving the new orders, Atu immediately headed to Dragontan's territory to establish ties. However, the evil aura they emitted was so strong it scared the others. The demi-humans guessed that Atu's side wasn't ordinary humans. The thick black aura was visible to the naked eye. This made some warriors tremble, ready to fight right away. Tonakapori stopped his subordinates from rushing in. First, they had to confirm what the other side wanted. Their beastman instincts were clearly sensing fear. Realizing the issue, the elf ordered the others to step back. As tension peaked, a boy suddenly popped out, introducing himself as Pepe Fa. This surprised both sides because this idiot was playing dumb. As a result, the demi-humans were invited to the cursed forest for talks. He knew they couldn't face evil like Atu, so they wanted to meet Takuto. Conveniently, the White Elf said they also needed to go to Dragontan as envoys. Thanks to PP's innocent and carefree nature, the atmosphere lightened considerably. The kid said he was on a special adventure. Mrs. Chow was pretty nervous, wondering what the special monster girl and the Destroyer King wanted from her. They then went to meet Takuto face to face. Fear surged again inside because of the main character's terrifying image. The deep black bottomless color was the embodiment of darkness. No wonder the surrounding area had become so gloomy. Earlier, their side had just fought some giants. Using his magic, PP attacked the enemy with plants. He often acted like he was the strong one, saying, "With me here, no one needs to be scared anymore." The warriors immediately got motivated when the priest arrived. While distracted, the monster below broke free and targeted the boy. Luckily, Tonkapi stepped up to save him and had someone finish off the opponent. Mrs. Chow then scolded her dumb nephew hard. Celebrating before winning means you'll die early. Because in Pepe's country he's the youngest staff user, so he's highly respected. The higher the status, the greater the responsibility, so he always has to be serious. Actually meeting Atu's group on the way was because they were ordered to go to the Great Uncle Realm for investigation. If the Manji group keeps attacking Dragontan, it'll be a massacre. Mrs. Chow suspects it might be because of the evil in the Great Uncle Realm causing the giants to rebel. Because she brought the boy along, Tonkapi now fears both might be killed by the Destroyer King. Suddenly, the kid excitedly stepped up to shake hands and wanted to be friends with the main character too. Mrs. Chow got scared for the second time, quickly silencing this idiot. Being calm at the evil's territory, like it's home, no way. But Takuto was pretty surprised by this offer. Since he had no friends at all, he agreed. Atu was a bit surprised, but still asked everyone to clap and congratulate their king on having his first friend. Just like that, the two of them were invited to feast on all kinds of delicious food. After trying Tonkatsu Pori's cow milk, he couldn't believe there was such a tasty drink. Atu said it was a drink Minoru was proud of. Both the drink and the dishes were premium. PP finished his drink and asked what his was, learning it was apple juice. The kid acted as natural as if at home, asking all sorts of questions that even the dark elves felt shy about. He also showed off his magic abilities for everyone to see. Takuto thought PP's communication skills were absolutely amazing, already making friends with everyone, totally opposite from his usual shy self. Thinking about what to do now that he had a friend. Since it was his first time, Takuto didn't know what to do. Plus, they were currently in an important negotiation. First, they had to show that their side had no hostile intentions. So the main guy invited his new friend to play games together. Everyone was dumbfounded because the Destroyer King invited a stranger to play. Luckily, Pepe agreed, so Takuto felt less awkward. Using his skills, the young man created some games from the old world and taught the kid mind games. Of course, PP was too young for those. After some dexterity games, they won. The most worried was Tonkatsu Pori. If her grandson made the Destroyer King angry, it would be over. Seeing Takuto play so comfortably, she could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Pepe then praised how amazing everything here was. From fruit juices to fun games, he felt glad to have come to Minoru and even suggested selling these things to his own country. The main guy agreed, since these were minor things. He had planned to use this method for trade anyway. Luckily, Pepe brought it up first, so they just went with it. From now on, there would be official negotiations between the two countries. Atu started by asking Tonkatsu Pori what she wanted in the Great Demon World. Knowing she'd be asked, she answered wisely. She said the Manji tribes had been attacking their country repeatedly. Usually, they wouldn't dare target big cities, but this time they brought a whole army as if directed by AI. Suspecting they originated here, they had to investigate. Takuto called them out, saying their side was lacking troops. Tonkatsu Pori, worried because whoever revealed more weaknesses in negotiations would be at a disadvantage. She defended that her side could still push back, but the Manji's strange moves made her want a deeper investigation. Atu agreed. Waiting until the last minute would be too late. Tonkapi said the Beastmen had sent two of their strongest staff-bearers. That proved their side wasn't lacking in military strength. The three on the other side expressed trust after hearing this, but then Pepe spilled the truth that at this rate, their country would collapse. That's why they had to investigate and find a way to respond. The old lady was crushed, not knowing how to scold this idiot. He innocently said he wasn't wrong. Atu began to understand how Tonkatsu Pori felt walking with such a hopeless guy. The white elf said Managrath had no hostile or harmful intentions toward their Fawn. Though the evil entity was untrustworthy, she could guarantee her words were true. So Takuto said the same peace was best, and they were an evil nation that loved peace. Seeing no abnormalities, Tonkatsu Pori began to trust. Regarding the Manji tribe, if Dragon Tan fell, the forest would be next. So Minoru had to intervene, meaning they would help Tonkatsu Pori. She thought silently that Funkan City must have a dragon vein, which was why it could be defended. Help like this is really great. Takuto agreed, and when asked what he wanted in return, he said it's the dragon vein. Mrs. Chow was stunned, so the other side had known all along. Atu proposed both sides manage it together, no problem. Currently, we don't need a massive amount of magic power. However, the elemental conversion must be decided by your side. That's the ability to convert the dragon vein's magical elements. Since Pepe spilled everything, Mrs. Tonokapori had nothing left to negotiate. She called that kid the dumbest among us. Still, he is the future of the country. He will become the representative and leader of Fawn, so all decisions here are transferred to that kid. Obviously, he agreed to cooperate because he wants more friends. The next day, Atu held another meeting to discuss ally issues. After negotiations, Emily allowed exports of food and toys to Fawn. They will also help protect the country. In return, Feta will co-manage the dragon vein and receive supplies and metals. This is great news because Takuto won't need to craft hard to make items by hand anymore. This success is thanks to Pepe. The negotiation might have ended safely if not for that boy. However, the two countries will remain cautious and need time to understand each other. In that case, protecting Dragontan will be difficult. Luckily, thanks to PP's activity, suspicion between sides has lessened. Now they need to decide on a long-term diplomatic policy with Fawn. Maria and Carrie were curious about what that city was like. It's a tough question because no one here actually knows. To boost trade, they need to understand the other side. So first someone must be sent to investigate that place. Knowing the personality and needs of the beastmen is key to forming lasting bonds. Distance between the two countries is quite far. Maria volunteered to go because she wanted to hang out, and Pepe had already invited her, so Carrie was on board too. The old man asked to go but was denied since he holds an important position among the three. None of them are allowed to leave at this moment. With no choice, everyone let the two go. Takuto looked worried, fearing danger. Atu agreed and said, "Let me go. My sect thinks the white elf lady is the king's favorite concubine. How could she leave the country?" Hearing this, Atu found it pretty reasonable, and even looked happy to be considered the favorite. Harry spoke up saying, "We're free after all. I want to help men, so this will be a great opportunity." As for the dangers, the two sisters are mentally prepared. Maria also begged with innocent eyes. Out of options, Takuto had to agree to let the two go to the neighboring country. The elf lady was shocked that the king was already subdued by the little girl. To reassure men will send servants he just created. After the meeting, Atu looked angry that Takuto was dominated by someone else. He told men to just leave him alone and go set up a harem. Seeing that the two sisters gave some honest advice, so he came to thank the lady for always thinking of him. He even held her hand, saying he really needs her help. So don't be mad and hear this, he can't live without me. The elf lady was thrilled imagining marrying Takuto. How funny. And just like that, the two had a happy life. Yeah, happily together. The next day, the male lead took the two sisters to the clinic. He told the bodyguards following them to stay here and protect.